Hello everyone, got a new video. Same disclaimer, nothing meant for or intended for any legal purposes, is all history. Knowledge, on this one I have a little bit of knowledge, and I did some research, I have some notes. Experience, and I have a lot of experience with the blood I'm about to talk about. Not with this dog particularly, but dogs that were related to him and the cross. Cross I'm talking about is Jeep Red Boy. And the dog I'm talking about is White's Tab. And you know me, I'm always talking about performance-based dogs and their production, all that. And I think this is a dog that the performance is behind him, because I don't know if he ever did anything. I don't know if he was schooled. I don't know if he was cold. I don't know if he was matched. I've never heard anything to that effect. In spite of all that, he's one of the greatest producers in the history of the breed. And like I mentioned, White's Tab. If you've been in the dog game for any length of time, whether you have the Jeep blood or the Red Boy blood or not, you've probably heard of Tab. Now, back in the day, Katie Marlowe made more, but the first two crosses of Jeep Red Boy that she made was Jeep to Fanny, and that produced Grand Champion Tank and Champion Cobra, several good dogs in that litter. And then she made the breeding of Jeep to Tabby Girl, and that produced Tab. Now, in my opinion, as far as modern day crosses go, and as far as a direct 50-50 cross, for the most part, there's always commonality in the dogs, but sometimes you have to go way, way back. And for the Jeep Red Boy cross, you would have to go way, way back to find commonalities there. But as far as a 50-50 cross like that, in my opinion, the Jeep Red Boy is the best. Now, others like the Eli Carver or Carver Eli. Others like the Red Boy Jocko. Others like the Mayday Buck. And in those other ones, there's commonality up close. Some even like Kobe, Tudor and Kobe, you know. Leitner Kobe or Kobe Leitner. Back in the day, way, way back, you know. And there's all kinds of ways of mixing them up. But those have more commonalities up close. The Jeep Red Boy is basically a 50-50 cross. And like I said, I think it was the best. Other people have their preferences. And over the years, there's been repeated Jeep Red Boy crosses all over the place. So Tab is definitely one of the best. Numerous champions. I'll name a few of them. Same thing. ROM, POR, Offspring, and Bloodlines, where he's the foundation, and then his offspring become the foundation. But his siblings, some of them, were Ramrod's champion Trap. He was a 4-time winner. Nothing but good said about him. He was an exceptional animal. Good producer himself. Garrett's little Red Boy. Now, back in the day, they used to advertise Red Boy, and I guess it paid off because he became an ROM himself. Locks Turbo, if anybody familiar with Sonny Locke. Several good dogs. Always in the mix back in the day. And another champion was Palm's champion Ernie. And I believe he was a 4-time winner. I'm not sure. Like Tramp, but I know he won at least 3. Ernie may have lost one. I can't remember. But a great litter. Now, to get into the pedigree, I'll read what this says. Of course, I always get from Peds Online. It helps recall my memory, and there's some information that I didn't previously have that I use. Top producing son. See, some people consider him the top producing son of Champion Jeep. A line of good performers and producers. He produced Champion Gator, ROM, Champion Brutus, Champion Tabitha, Champion Smoothie, Grand Champion Abbott, Champion Ruger, Champion Tuffy, POR, Champion Kano, Champion Peanut, Champion Slim Shady, Champion Tabby Boy, Champion Larry Luther, and many two-time winners and one-time winners. Now, of course, he's sired by Champion Jeep. Oh, I forgot to mention. Thank you to Marty Mar Harrison for this vid. Appreciate it very much. It's a great topic, and thanks for suggesting it. Shout out to Marty Mar. So he's sired by Champion Jeep, four-time winner, RM. Everybody knows, heard of Champion Jeep. I'll just add a little bit. He was a four-time winner. He beat Champion Shaker, I think it was. Beat Cooper's Weenie. He was a two-time winner in 58 minutes. Beat Stinson's, or Billy Stepp's Black Dog. It's funny because I asked Stinson one time if he was involved in that match with Jeep. He said he had nothing to do with it, even though his name's attached to it. In the report, it says Stinson and Steps Black. Jim Stinson said he wasn't involved in that. But he beat that Black Dog, who was reportedly a three-time winner, son of Zebo. I don't know if that's true, but that's what was reported. And speaking to other people, that's what they said. The Black Dog, he beat him in 2 hours and 5 minutes, of course. He had that classic matchup with Champion Homer, a four-time winner, in 3 hours and 45 minutes. Homer had never won an hour mark, and none of the dogs ever scratched back to him that he beat, I don't think. And I think he finished 3 out of the 4, maybe 4, but I think one survived. The last one, maybe, I don't know. But just a devastating dog Homer was, and a dead game dog as well. Jeep sired by Finley's Champion Bo, ROM. Again, Bo, a great producer. And all these dogs, it makes sense. If you're a great producer and you sire dogs that become producers and they become great producers, and they're going to sire a dog, right? Male or female, they become great producers. And that's what we see here with Bo and Jeep and Tab. Apart from their performance. Because like I said, I don't know if Tab ever did anything. But I do know he produced a lot of great dogs and is a foundation for several different dog men bloodlines. So Bo was a multiple winner. Lost one to Vindicator, who was a two-time winner. Vindicator, badass dog. He beat two very good dogs, Jasper and Bo. And then he lost to, I forgot the dog's name, but he lost in an hour, 10 minutes. Some say he had heartworms at the time. I don't doubt it, because in the deep south like that, heartworms were rampant at one time. Now there's preventative for them. Back then they didn't really have a preventative or even a cure for it. Now they do. The preventative is ivermectin. The cure is go to your vet. Bo also, it's been written several times that he produced a champion in every litter. So I know he produced a multiple winner when bred to Champion Duchess. The So-So Boys had two champions from two different litters, Champion Bronco and Champion Magnum. Hargroves and Slick Smith, among others, owned Grand Champion Outlaw, a 7-time winner. There was another one. What was his name? Hop. I forget. Anyways, several champions, one from each litter. That's what we report. And plus, great dogs like the 2-time winner Polecat and several other, Bob Finley and Crenshaw, and a lot of different people. So-So Boys. Tito out here, Tito and the local boys used a lot of Bo bred dogs that were not Jeep, not Bo Honey Bunch dogs, bred different ways. And Hopper's Bully, Champion Bully, that was another one. So that Bowen himself had his own line of dogs, very famous, a lot of good dogs. Bronco won Best in Show 3 times. One of the dogs he beat was from the Bobby Jr. Dirty Mary litter. I believe it was what dog was it? Tadpole. That was from the Bobby Jr. He lost to Grand Champion Bronson. Then Indian Joe, that's who it was. He was a 2-time winner. He lost to RC and the So-So Boys champion Bronco. But Bronco had 3 Best in Show wins. Magnum beat the same kennel for 2 out of his 3 wins. Several different people owned Outlaw. And 7-time winner. Very good dog. So there's a lot of even Grand Champion Fritz is down from the Bow breedings. He was a 5-time winner. One in the Deep South, one on the West Coast. Back and forth like that. And of course, Jeep's mother was Champion Honey Bunch, one of the greatest bitches in history. ROM, 3-time winner. Champion. Along with the Jeep litter, which included Jeep, Holly, Charlie, Missy as champions. Bred to Oso Negro, have a couple of 2-time winners and some producing females out of there. I think that litter produced better females than it did males. And of course, you have Grand Champion, what was his name? We Hunt. And his brother was a champion too, Bully Bob or Bully Boy, I forget his name. We Hunt was a 6 or 7-time winner. Last couple of fights he won with barely any teeth. Then you have Champion Slater or Grand Champion Slater, or better known as Grand Champion Snake, from the Otis Honey Bunch litter. And his sister Missy, I think, was a 2-time winner. Of course, that's a foundation for Roca Stonewall. Some more Honey Bunch bred dogs, and that's what I consider my foundation, more so than Jeep, was Honey Bunch, because it includes Rascal Jr. And of course, the Rascal Jr. litter, Rascal Jr. 3-time winner, had a sister named Crypto, 4-time winner, 1-time loser. Had a couple more champions in there. All the females from that litter, except for Crypto, I don't know if she was bred. But the other females in the litter produce some very good dogs. In fact, Grand Champion Outlaw's mother is from the Rascal Honey Bunch litter. And of course, behind my stuff is Rascal Honey Bunch, Blackie, and same thing with PB's Blondie. Has Sugar behind her. Sugar and Blackie were from the Rascal Honey Bunch litter. So she was just one of the best. I put her up there in my top 3. Honey Bunch, Dirty Mary, and Black Widow. Best producing females in the history of the breed. That's just my personal preference. Because when you see females throw good dogs and producers, winners and all that, in every litter or almost every litter, which these 3 females did, that puts them at the top for me. Not hardly a miss in them, And of course, Tab, named after his mama, Tabby Girl, who's a POR, heavily inbred on Bass's Tramp Red Boy. Tabby Girl, sired by Mr. Bulldog, out of Brandy Girl. And for me, I mentioned it before, I'll mention it again, Brandy Girl is the key to the Red Boy dogs. That's my opinion. And to back it up, you have dogs like Tabby Girl. You have dogs like Mr. Bulldog, Bailey's Bingo, WCC's Deacon, Crenshaw's Hunter Red. Just numerous dogs bred along that way. Even my own Big Red, he's half Red Boy, all based on Rattler and Venus and heavy inbred Red Boy and tight bred Brandy Girl. So Mr. Bulldog, sired by Tramp Red Boy out of Brandy Girl. So he was bred to his mother. And of course, Brandy Girl, sired by Red Boy out of Cleo. Cleo is another key component in the Red Boy breedings. All the dogs, or most of the dogs off of her bred to Red Boy, did something. So that's pretty much the pedigree. You have basically kind of a Kobe, Eli, and then the Red Boy more Kobe. Although it's Kobe and Red Boy's Kobe, you know, all the current controversy about that. Until you get back to Rifle and Dime and all that, you don't see commonality in the Kobe dogs from Bo to Red Boy stuff. It's kind of different. And when I say 50-50, I say it because of that. They're not really related up close. You have to go back to find where they're related. But you do that with any dog. So that's why we call Eli Carver a cross. Because the dog up close ain't related, even though there's a lot of Daibo stuff in there. Or the Red Boy Jocko. It's not related up close, even though it's kind of a Daibo Kobe cross. So the Daibo Kobe cross is like the Kobe Lightner stuff from way in the back, from way back in the day. Again, that's personal opinion. Guys can nitpick and go back and forth and argue, or even disagree with me. That's okay. So as we move on to the offspring, according to what, you know, online pets, I don't know, but these are never complete. But just to give you kind of a figure. Because there's even some of my Jeep dogs are not on Peds Online, right? So there's always something missing. It says Tab had 849 offspring, which is a lot of offspring, just like Jeep had a lot of offspring, and Mayday have a lot of offspring. They back it up with their production rate. Can't hardly go wrong. Got the right dogs from those bloodlines, you're going to be able to do something. Of course, Pinky back of the day, you were going to be competitive in the traditional sense and in the brood pen. So I mentioned some of these before. Rodriguez champion Gator, and Crenshaw's champion Brutus, Bailey's grand champion Rambo, Crenshaw's champion Smoothie, Team USA's champion Tabby Boy, Arce's or Indian Sunny's Rock, who's a POR, Irene 3, White's Viper, a 2-time winner ROM, Scratchliner's champion Peanut, TaylorMade's Bridget. There's an example of dogs going to different continents. This would be Australia. And if that's the Taylor I'm thinking of, it could be a different Taylor. But Taylor in Australia, he made good use of the Jeep to Brat's Dottie Girl and the Red Boy stuff. He had an inbred Red Boy. Peaches, I think, is what he had. So it worked good even over there. If this TaylorMade Bridget is the ones from New York, then again, they made do with the Jeep Red Boy stuff, or the Red Boy stuff, or the Jeep stuff, or however you want, even the Big Red stuff up in the Northeast United States. And of course, one of Tab's better known offspring, and the blood, from what I've been told, is still going because of frozen semen. So you have McClintock's Little Tab. Eat by Tab and Scratchliner's Peanut. Peanut was a POR. So Little Tab, like I said, from what my research shows me, is they're utilizing the frozen semen off of him, which is great because there's none off of Jeep. There's none off of a lot of these dogs from the past. I don't know if there's off of Champion Gator. Haven't heard it, but I have heard Little Tab, frozen semen, still producing good dogs. Peanut was by Hitman's champion Honeybee, and or produce Hitman's Champion Honeybee and Grand Champion. That's what it was. Little Tab produced Hitman's Champion Honeybee and Grand Champion Bulldog, Yankee Boys Champion Wolfman, by Roca's Lolita. Now Lolita, again, some of that Stonewall stuff. It just shows that, you know, Rocca knows what he's doing, because he utilized his Lolita bred to Champion Wolfman, or utilized that Stonewall stuff through Lolita into the Tab stuff to continue his bloodline. There's commonality all through there, mainly Jeep and Honey Bunch, more so. Again, Rodriguez Champion Gator, the story of him, you know, great dog. Mr. Gray told me one time, he goes, I never saw a game Jeep dog until I saw a Champion Gator against Bayonne Club. I forget the dog's name, but he was a devastating biter. He bit the shit out of Gator. Cut him down. Gator wouldn't quit. When he finally was able to get up and put it on him, he stopped him. And that impressed everybody. So Gator, and Gator's fights were short too. He was a great athlete. But in this one, he got outworked and outbit. He won on heart. And you guys can put in, you know who I'm talking about. You can put the dog's name in the comment. You know, as I get older, my memory fades, and I try and write notes to help me remember. Sometimes I forget. But I got that dog's name in the tip of my tongue. He was a 3 or 4 time winner too. Gator, of course, produced Crenshaw's Grand Champion Blackjack, another foundation dog for a lot of people, especially Casino. Several champion sheriff, champion deputy. There's several champions off of Grand Champion Blackjack. He's a foundation dog. And of course, he's sired by Champion Gator, who also produced a lot of good dogs. Gator also produced Runt, Crenshaw's Runt. Wagner's Reba, 2-time winner. Westside Combine's champion captain. Healy's Champion Big. Now, Joe Healy doesn't get a lot of credit. He's an old-time dog, man. And produced a lot of good dogs. Back in the day when I was active, he was most famous for having a dog named Champion Bumblebee, who I believe was the son of Champion Rascal, Crenshaw's Champion Rascal. So Healy used a lot of the Rascal bred type stuff. And he doesn't get credit, but a shout out to Mr. Healy. Good dog, man. Produced a lot of good dogs. And people back in the day knew who he was, very familiar with him. So Healy's Champion Big Boy was his dog, and Bulldog P's Little Gator. Of course, Bulldog P, another great dog, man. Doesn't get a lot of mention. He had a lot of good dogs. A lot of stuff in Rebels. He's one of the few people who beat Rebel Kennels 3 times. Then they partnered up later. He had a lot to do with Shade the Lady and different dogs, Becky, and his own dogs. Started out, I think he started winning with some OFRN stuff early on, and then he went to more of the Rascal side kind of stuff, and some Jeep stuff. Just a great conditioner, and known for putting one in shape, known for having a good eye for the dog. Much respect to Bulldog P. So that's pretty much what I got on Tab. And like I said, I'm always about performance, and I put that first and foremost. But there's several dogs throughout history that weren't performance-based, but were still great producers. Or if they were performance-based, there's no information on it. And it's not just Tab. There's also co-females. I forget which ones on there, but they're on the ROM list. But you have Stompanato, 2 Carver Stompanato. There's not much on whether he was even rolled or whatever. Now, he might have been a devastating dog, and they held him back for breeding purposes, but there's no record of him competing. And the same goes for Hammond's, what's his name? He's the sire of Champion Brutus. Hammond's Rufus. Again, no record of performance. Great producer. Rufus produced a lot of good dogs. I had a chance to see Champion Brutus back in the day. Very good dog. Produced a little Selma dog I mentioned recently. 3-hour winner. A 30-pound female. Neat little female. So Rufus produced a lot of good dogs. Anytime you see a Hammond's dog, you're going to see Rufus in there, along with the Bruno Heinzel stuff. You know, that's what he basically started out with. Then when he saw Alligator, he had to have that stuff. According to Gary Hammond, Alligator was an ace. Again, conditioned by Don Mayfield and Danny Burton as well, owned by the Plumbers, who had a lot of Tudor's Nig dogs, Clay, Champion Clay, and 3-Leg Black Diamond, and tons of them. They're behind Champion Gomer and Champion 400, and tons of them. So despite what I say, and those are just my standards, there's been several dogs throughout the history of breed that don't have a competitive record behind them that produce great dogs, and Tab is one of them. So I hope you guys like the vid. Share, like, subscribe. School Baby always tells me to say that, even though I don't, you know, whatever. But I appreciate it. Comment, and more vids on the way, more interviews too. Thank you.